Hi guys, Kim here. Welcome to Backyard Blooms. In today's video, we are going to talk about my plant haul that I got from Dearness Garden. Dearness Garden is located in Huntersville, North Carolina, and of course you all know that I do ultrasound. So I had a half a day and I took the time to stop. My friend Loretta that I just did a video on how to stake her bobo hydrangeas, she asked me, she's like, Kim, have you ever been to Dearness Garden? She said that she loved that garden and it had different unique things, and they sure did. They had a lot of cool native plants. So I have lots of plants in my garden right now, so that is what I'm looking for when I'm planting something new. I want something different and unique that I've never seen before. And this garden center had some different stuff that I'm going to share with you today. So I also stopped by Pike's Nursery as well a couple of days ago and found these geraniums. Now I'm going to plant these in my Skylar elevated planter box. I planted the red wing begonias back there and they are not doing good at all. So I'm going to pull those up and replant these geraniums in that spot. And I thought this hot pink would look really, really pretty against that black potato vine that I had in there and that lemon coral sedum. So I think those colors are going to play off and contrast really well with each other. We still have a long planting season here. It is the first part of August, so we're not going to get a hard frost until late November or sometime in November. So I'm hoping that if I cut some of those red wing begonias back that they'll bloom out again and start looking nice. They just do not look pretty and they're sad and I'm tired of looking at them. Of course, if I'm going to look at something gorgeous, I want it to all look really, really nice. And I've been watering it really well. It's just not happy there. So you can see that this side garden that I have all these begonias on this side, this gets morning sun and late afternoon shade. So I'm going to replant those over here and hope that they'll be much happier in this location. So I'm going to share with you what I bought at Dearness Garden. Of course, I had to pick me up some biotone. They had all the tones there, and if you cannot find biotone at your local nurseries, then you can get this on Amazon, and I have all those links into my, look under my description and more, and you'll see all those links. Everything I planted in my garden, I have always started with this biotone, and everything's been super happy and very successful. So yes, it is worth this to go ahead and pick one of these up when you're planting. So got me some biotone, and the very first plant, I loved the foliage. Now this one takes full shade, but look at how gorgeous those leaves are. Look at the contrast and variation on every single leaf, and all the leaves are like different. So that's what I really, really liked about this plant. Like I said, I wanted to pick up some different unique plants, something that I haven't found at any of the other nurseries yet. So this plant is a variegated farfugium, F-A-R-F-U-G-I-U-M. I'll throw the name up there. And it is an evergreen, so evergreen means that this is not going to lose its leaves, and in the wintertime it's still going to give me some green. They're really sturdy leaves too, by the way. So, and it does say it's deciduous in zone 7. Evergreen, deciduous in zone 7. So that kind of contradicts itself. It doesn't really make sense to me. But it's a flowering perennial with gray-green glossy leaves with white variegated margins and patches of bright yellow flowers on a 30-inch stem late summer through fall. So it is late summer through fall. So I hope that I can see this flower for me. Flowers can be enjoyed or pruned out to encourage foliage. Plant in shade to light shade with good drainage, organic matter, and ample consistent moisture. This plant is highly sought after. USDA Zone 7 in cold hardiness. So sorry for you guys that are Zone 5, 6. It's going to have to be a 7 and above to plant this one, but I'm in Zone 8. Look how gorgeous this is. I'm so excited. I love it. I might go back and get me some more of this. Let me just see how well it does in my garden first, because this was kind of pricey at $40. I know. You can keep your comments to yourself. But anyways, I'm planting stuff that I love in my garden, and I love this right now. So this plant right here did not cost $40. This was $12.99. Of course, like, this is August of 2023, so I have no idea like where, if you find this plant somewhere else, it might be a different cost, but just to kind of give you an idea how much things cost right now. This is a stone crop. It's a sedum called Sun Sparkler Cherry Tart, and it takes sun to part shade. So I'm not planting this over here in this shade garden because it stays too wet. And I already know by experience that my sedum over here does not like to be that moist. So I'm gonna plant that on the west side garden, and I'll find an area that is a little bit more protected from like a tree or something like that that's not gonna get like full on shade. Now this is not gonna get very tall, so I'm gonna wanna plant it where I can see it, you know. But let me just show you how gorgeous this is. Get a couple of this old. Just show you how pretty this plant is close up. I just love the red texture and then like the green, kind of purplish on there. I thought that was just really, really pretty. And there is the tag. Of course you see the deer with the big slash on there. That means deer do not like this one at all. So let me share the features with you. It says it's got outstanding features. On top of that, forms a low, compact mound of fleshy, dark, cherry red, rounded leaves, bearing clusters of deep pink flowers in the fall. So I'll get to see that flower this fall. Nice for covering slopes or as a ground cover in sunny, dry sites. So it says sunny, dry. But this said sun to part shade. So I guess it will take sun too. Full sun or partial shade. So I might plant it in the full sun then. Blooms midsummer to fall, and it blooms a deep pink. It only grows 6 to 8 inches, so it's very, very short. And it says it requires excellent drainage, which I told you I've already learned the hard way with that sedum. And as soon as that sedum starts to come up next year, or even maybe this year, I'm going to replant that. I think I'm going to replant it in the fall. That would be a good idea. That way it'll get its good root system going for next year. And when it comes up fresh next year, it's going to look gorgeous. So this next plant, I was really super excited about it, and I never saw anything like this before. And me and my friend Dawn and Cindy and Bonnie went to the botanical garden, and we did like a painting class, and I'll share that picture with you as well. And she painted this flower, and I saw it and I thought of my friend Dawn, and I helped her plant her garden too. You can look back at that video as well. And I was like, I gotta have it. And then I was so excited to show her. I was like, look what I got. So this is a blackberry lily. Blackberry lily. Strong iris-like foliage, bright orange spotted flowers give way of attractive blackberry-like seed heads. Both make good cut stems, and it's drought tolerant. So you plant it in the sun, and it likes to be moist, well draining, and it is hardy in zones 4 through 9. Let me show you this flower up close. Look how pretty that is. I just love it. I'm so glad that it's in bloom right now, because it was in bloom when I bought it, and then the last couple of days it was out of bloom. But now it's in bloom. And then the next thing that I'm going to talk about that I'm going to try to get planted today is that my friend Loretta shared some of her white irises with me. And I saw these white irises in her garden when they were in bloom, and I'll ask her if she's got a picture of them. She did send me like the little tag, so I'll be able to share that with you as well. But you can see where she's already separated some of these irises. I've had them soaking for the last couple of days because they got really dried, and that's a good tip that I'm going to give you. Whenever you're replanting anything that's bare root, soak it for at least 2 hours. I've had these soaking a little bit longer, and I hope they're going to be okay, but I feel like they will be okay. Kind of stink right now from the stinky water that I had in it. But anyways, I can even separate this right here if I want, and I'm going to watch a video to learn how to separate these before I plant them, but I need to get them planted as well. So they look like kind of like tubers, but these are the rhizomes. When I watched a video, a little short video, these are the rhizomes. So whenever you plant these, you want to plant these rhizomes like this, just right underneath the ground. So I can like separate these two so they're not going to form like a really large clump. And evidently she had a lot that she could share with me. So that's a plus. Like if you guys whenever you're separating something and you know that someone loves to garden, like go ahead and ask them, say, hey neighbor, do you want to come over and share some of these plants with me? Because like I love to get free plants. They're so expensive nowadays. But that's how you're going to plant these, just this right underneath the ground, like so. So we're going to plant these together as well. And I'm going to plant these on the west side garden, the other side over there. So let's go get planting. So actually these have been out in the hot sun all day long. I never ever plant anything that's not already watered. So I want to water this while it's still in the container. That way if I'm putting this in dirt that's already dry and this plant is dry, even if I water it in the ground, it's never going to really absorb the water that it needs. So I'm going to soak these roots really, really good before I plant them. So that is another good tip for you. I like to soak things more at the base of the root instead of putting something like directly over the foliage right there, because the foliage, if you're constantly putting water over top, now rainwater is fine, of course you can't prevent that, but if you're constantly applying water to the foliage all the time, it's going to get fungus. So by putting it more down here at the base of the roots, it will protect the plant and not get fungus as much. That's another tip. And that's another reason why I need to get them into the ground, because it is so hot. And if you do not water these every single day while they're in the containers, then they're going to die. So don't do that. Cannot overwater these because they have drain hose in the bottom and they're just going to drain. See how they're draining? Another tip that I want to tell you about too, if you're new at gardening, and some of you may know this, but this is for the ones that are new at gardening. When you have geraniums and the bloom is already spent, you can cut this all the way back at the base, and that will encourage new blooms throughout the season as well. So like this bloom right here is about ready to go out of bloom, so you can only see just a few on there. So if I take it and cut it all the way back to here, then that will encourage this to have new blooms as well. So that's another tip. So this is my Lubana elevated scalar box that I was telling you about. And of course I chose to put annuals in here, but I think it would make a great herb garden as well. Look at this real pretty white potato vine, and it's already starting to bloom a little bit. I'll bring the camera a little closer so you can see those blooms. But I thought this hot pink geranium, look how pretty that plays against each other really, really well. So you can like look at these red winged begonias. They're really looking sad. Like I'm not even really happy with them whatsoever. So I'm gonna get them out of the sun, which it's late in the afternoon right now because I have to wait till late afternoon to be able to even garden here because it is so hot. I think it's 86 today, but the humidity's high. It feels so much hotter than it is, and even like other days it's been like in the 90s. So anyways, I'm gonna pull these up. I'm gonna try to get as much as the root system that I can, because like I said, I'm gonna trim them back, all the way back, like to maybe that much, and you'll see me do that. And I'm gonna try to replant them over on the side garden because I have red over there, and I think this red will be really pretty over there with the other reds. So actually you can see the dirt's pretty dry right now, and I did water these last night, but no matter how much I water them, they're just not super happy. But they do have some really good foliage down here at the bottom, like where you can see at the very top there, they're just really struggling. So like I said, I think if I take them and prune them back to about maybe, you see that, like to right there, and let them rebloom out again, I think they'll look really nice. this is what this box is looking like now. I'm really a lot more happier with this. So I hope and pray that these geraniums are going to be so much more happier in this container. So this is the pink geraniums, and I will have to deadhead these, but I'm totally okay with that. And this is where I keep all my tags so I can know what I have in the garden there. So American pink geranium, and then I had living coral sedum, and this is what the black potato vine is. Carolina Sweetheart Jet Black. So I'll put all those tags back in there so I'll know exactly what I have. And if I forget, that I can refer back to it as well. But this is what the black potato vine is looking like. And there's 3 of those in there, and they will trail. And these are the real pretty blooms that I was telling you about, that the bees do love these right here as well. So there's several blooms in there. I just kind of got them soaked right now, but several blooms. Let's see if I can get up a little closer to it. They're like a really lilac purple color, and then you can see that this black potato vine has lots of variations of color on it as well, and it plays off really pretty against this lemon coral sedum and these geraniums here. So you want to go for contrast, or I like to go for contrast. I feel like the colors play off each other nicely. And then if you always want to have different textures too. So if you have a heart-shaped leaf here, and then you've got this frilly texture here, and then of course a different texture on the geranium leaf as well. So I did put some biotone in there, even though that they're annuals. I felt like this box, since I planted it up earlier in the spring, needed it. So you can also use those for your annuals as well. It's just going to give them a good start. And then this Skylar elevated planter box is just really, really pretty. I've been really happy with it. It's sturdy, looks like wood, but it's not wood. And you can find that on Lubana, Skylar elevated planter box, and I'll put the link up for you as well. Good quality, not very expensive. It's not plastic, so it's going to hold up a lot longer. Look how pretty Sasha is. Sasha girl. So I told you at Dearness that I also picked up some plants, but I picked up, let's see the birds flying away here. So this is what I got at Dearness as well. One of these wind spinners. I'm not sure exactly what you call these, but I like it. I feel like it's pretty elegant. Some of them with a lot of colors, I guess, just kind of make it too much, but this, I think this fits in with my garden really, really well. So hopefully the deer will be scared from this, and some of the noise will keep it away. I don't know if it'll work or not. This is the cheap one that it wasn't cheap. This is the one I got ripped off of from China. I've never even seen it spin. I think it's too heavy. But anyways, I'm leaving it there. Something additional for the deer to knock up to and get scared. So I marked out 3 different spots here for these red-winged begonias. I have 5 total, so I'm gonna put 3 here and 2 on the other side of this planter right here. I'm gonna use my power planter auger to dig in this hard clay soil. You can see my link on the descriptions under more for this power planter. This is probably my #1 tool that I love in my garden, and second is gonna be my focal pruners. So not sure which #1 and #2 is, but I love them both. So you can see I pruned this all the way back and got all that unhealthy foliage that wasn't super happy, and this is what I'm ended up with. And then it just kind of like clumped. Of course, this is just a little bit wet because it's like I told you, it stays moist on this side, which is pretty good for these plants because I'm not going to have to water them a whole lot. I do have drip in this bed, but not really in this location. I think my drip is right up against those boxwoods right there. Of course, I did not put a biotone in there. So I'm just gonna spray it on top here. Let's spray it. I'm gonna lay it on top. I'll put my mulch on. I'll mulch back over. So I'm gonna make another hole here. And right there. Alright, so these are what they look like after planted. And I put some fresh black mulch because I got some that I was gonna put around my crepe myrtle trees out front. I bought some of that today. And then I put 2 over here. So I had 5 total. Now I'm not honestly not loving this because these begonias over here have a dark green and these are a lighter green, but that's why I kind of separated them over here. So I lost my spot that I put all my plants at. So I guess that'll make me plant everything as soon as I get it, huh? So anyways, this little red bud tree's growing really good this year. It should have a really good root system now because it's been 2 years in that little pot and it's on drip. So anyways, that's what it's looking like. And this is my favorite. If I'm gonna buy mulch in a bag, this is my favorite, Naturescape Scott's. I don't like the big chunky mulch, and then it doesn't break down as well either into compost. This one breaks down in compost. asked the young lady at Dearness Garden what her favorite flower was, and she told me it was that skull cap. I never heard of that, so I had to look it up, and the next time that I see that flower, I will definitely be purchasing that flower as well.
Scootalaria. We have a song, Scootalaria. But it's just a native perennial. It blooms sort of purpley blue. And my hummingbirds love it. My bees love it. It's just nice. It's just a summer blooming perennial. And it just amazes me every year when it comes up.
So I want you to do me a favor. I want to make sure you like, share, and subscribe my videos. 97% of the people that watch my videos do not subscribe, and it's free to subscribe. I currently have the viewers watching my videos, but not subscribing. I have a goal of 22,000 subscribers by the end of 2023. I currently, in August, have 3,400, but my viewers are there, so I know I can do it. So please make sure you subscribe to me and help me get to my goals. I hope you enjoyed this plant haul that I got from Dearness Garden, and the next time that I see that skull cap at the garden, I'm going to be sure to grab it. It must be a pretty special plant for her to say that that was her #1 plant out of all the plants at Dearness. And I guarantee you, when I go back in the fall to Dearness Garden, they'll be able to have that plant. So I'm pretty excited to get that one into my garden, since she, the young lady at the garden, loved that plant. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe my videos, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.